With the new year upon us, I got to wondering, can we work out when New Year might be in the Xi'an calendar of Star Citizen? No, we can't. Thanks for watching. Okay, so there's obviously more to it than that, but I just wanted to warn you that this is going to go down a real rabbit hole, and if you're going to follow me down there, you should be warned that not only is it going to be just a load of numbers, but also this is very much kind of just for academic interest. I'm not blowing this out of proportion. This is obviously just some numbers in some law documents. It's not important. But this was a fun maths puzzle for me, and that's why I did it. So there's some facts we need to take into account. One Xi'an year is said to be 1.28 Earth years, based on the orbital mechanics of their homeworld RyiXy'an compared to ours. And we have a number of dates in the law that we can use to then work out. One Xi'an year is said to be 1.28 Earth years, based on the orbital mechanics of their homeworld RyiXy'an versus ours. Then we've got a number of dates that I've scraped from the law. The first 5 here are all from Galactopedia, and then the last one is a letter that you find in the Xi'an language guide. Note that Xi'an years are all given from the start of the Third Imperial Age currently. There are obviously years going back into the First and Second Imperial Ages, but we're not worrying about those here. Those years will be written 3. Then the year number. So obviously all those dates should sit on a line consistent with those data points. I.e., if we take Xi'an year and human year, they should form a straight line with a slope of 1.28 or thereabouts and be near to that line. There's a bit of wiggle room because the last day of a Xi'an year, here say 450 of the Third Era, could correspond to the 1st of January 2021, or at the other extreme, the very last day of 2021 could be the very first day of their year, and then an event could be said to be happening in both years. Also, while we're saying that it's 1.28 years per year, I've also taken into account the fact that that could actually be a rounding, so it could be as low as 1.275 or as high as just under 1.285 and still be said to round to 1.28. So if you plot that out, you can, I won't read through all this, but you can be more specific and you can say, okay, I'll draw 2 lines which will be consistent with the idea that it starts sometime in 1377 and rounds to 1.28. So any point that falls between these 2 lines would be consistent with our dates, and any points that sit outside these 2 lines would not be consistent and would imply something's wrong. And you see that if you plot those 2 lines, the dates later in the calendar don't line up with 1377. However, you might be thinking, well, maybe just that date's wrong. But if you zoom in on those dates, those later dates, you'll find that they don't really line up either. Here, red lines show the dates that be consistent with Master Tai's letter being written in 2947 and that being 1164 of the Third Era, whereas blue is the same kind of thing for the earliest date of these 5, the start of the Cold War. And you can see there's 3 groups. There's the first 2 dates, the middle 2 dates, and the last date all kind of exist on slightly different scales. So this isn't a great big deal because it's a large team and these things have been retconned and changed over time, and it's all under development, so it's no big deal. But what can we do to fix it? Well, you could just decide that one of these dates is correct and the others are wrong. So if we decide that 1377 is correct, we could update the dates to match that. We could decide that Master Tai's date is correct. But that's not very fun because then we can't actually say when the next New Year's would be because the range is so wide. Alternatively, we could just decide, okay, let's make it the minimum change the ratio of Xi'an years to human years and say that these 3 dates were correct. In that instance, you'd update the dates to be like this, and you'd work out that the next Xi'an New Year would be February 10th this year, pretty soon. But what would be the most fun way to change and update this? I'd say it would be to make Xi'an New Year an event coming up. So let's just go back to what was probably originally the idea, saying that 1.28 human years equals 1 Xi'an year. Not just round to, we'll just say it's exact. Let's keep these things simple. Keep some arbitrary dates, and let's say the 2 dates from the end of the Xi'an Cold War, since they're the ones that have the most law written about them, and therefore would take the least amount of work if we kept those. Last year, Alien Week was held for the first time as the 7 days after June 12th, which is Human Banu First Contact. What we could perhaps do is just say, well, this year, Xi'an New Year is going to fall in that week. Let's say it could be Friday the 18th. If you decide those facts, then you get this calendar. And you would say that the start of the Third Imperial Age was actually November 25th, 1444. The early dates get these ranges because there's still some question about when in the calendar year that happened. But you end up with it currently being 1176 and the next Xi'an New Year being our decided date of June 18th, which will be the new year for 1177. Thanks for watching. Please do consider leaving a like, comment or subscribing if you are interested in other, particularly alien content like this. This was just a little video while I'm working on my larger projects, which I hope to share with you soon. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the verse.